After my 5th business, I finally figured this out. When you just start, you will learn more in 1 week than you learned in a year.
Gonna tell you that all I knew was eat less.
Welcome, Coach Yo, Coach Nick, to My Elevated Mindset Business Edition. Tell me, there are millions of people out there that want to leave their 9-to-5 jobs, right? And they want to start a business. But the transition from a 9-to-5 job to a business, how do you do it?
Dude, that's hard because we all worked at a desk job before. We all wish that time that we want to do something for ourselves. All of us, bro. I remember sitting in the office looking out the window all the time, wishing what we could do, right? I mean, we've all been there.
Yeah.
But I think what started off for me was it's the environment that I was in. It's the environment that I was a part of because I hired a coach. And then the coach was like, hey man, I want you to be one of our coaches and work for ourselves and have your own business underneath, the entity of the company at the time. I was like, what? That's crazy. I did not think that was going to be possible. Honestly, This was back in 2018. And once I did my first show, I fell in love with health and fitness, got my certifications and whatnot. And then I asked my wife, I was like, hey, I want to be a coach. And she said, no. No. She goes, I don't want you to be in that world or with a bunch of women's and naked people and stuff, right? Bodybuilders, right?
Yeah. My wife's actually asked about that.
Yeah. So so I finally convinced her. I'm like, hey, you know what? Just give me a chance. Just give me a chance for something that I do. Let me prove to you that I'm different, right? And when I launched that in 2019 essentially and start getting clients, and they were feeding me clients at the time, so it helped to kind of get my feet, going. Fast forward 2020, bro, and that's when I actually separated myself from the company that I was with. So originally when I left my 9-to-5, I worked into a company that was already coaching people with lifestyle changes and bodybuilding and stuff. So I was just part of their coaching. I was just part of their coach. And they didn't pay me directly. I was just kind of giving clients to me and they paid me directly. And then that turns into 10 clients, 15, 20. The next thing you know, I have 30 plus clients in a matter of less than 2 years. So I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And some things happened, some negative things that happened with the company that I was with, and me and the owner didn't really get along and a lot of different aspects of that. And we decided to launch Unfinished Lifestyle. When I launched it, Nick was my first phone call.
Yep.
That's why he's here.
Yep.
And so I called him. I was like, look, dude, I'm going to need some help. I would love to have you to be part of our coaching staff. And same thing with him. I'll start feeding you some clients. And fast forward later, 2025 now, 5 years in, we're going to celebrate our 5-year anniversary.
Nice.
And help countless of individuals that have lost many, many pounds of weight, pounds of fat, gaining tons of muscle. You are one of them, which is amazing to see. And so transition from 9-to-5, it wasn't as tough as I thought it would be, because we make it into like this movement, the difficulty of unknowing, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when your next paycheck's going to be. You don't know if you're going to get new clients. You don't know if you're going to ever get new clients ever or getting any referrals. How are you going to build your own website, right? There's so many things and so many negativities. And what happens though, people get to the point where they fear failure and not willing to take a chance. So we all had to take that chance. You did, I did, Nick did too.
Yep.
If you don't take that chance, you're never going to know what you're capable of.
Yep. That's exactly what I was going to say. I think a lot of it's fear-based. Not just that, but what are other people going to think, right? Like, what is my spouse going to think if I come to her and say, hey, I want to leave corporate job that's guaranteed pay to do something that's not guaranteed paid unless I'm putting in the work. So I think that scares a lot of people, thinking that their idea isn't good enough, prevents them from doing it. I had to kind of jump in head first with it. I worked a corporate job. I was in operations management, and New Year's Eve of 2019, the site shut down. So going into 2020, I didn't have a job. And before the pandemic and everything hit, my plan was I was just going to go into IT, work on my dad's team with him and my brother up at the University of Utah, and was going to just do that. And then the more I was doing the training is like, I can't just sit here and do that. Like, I don't want to just stare at a computer screen again all day and just, I that just felt too lazy. And I wanted to just do something else. And then when he was with the old company, Johan and his former business partner asked me to get certified because they were so busy with overflow clients. They needed someone to come on and take it.
Nick was actually my client.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's how it all started.
Well, we've known each other since we were like 12, 13,
Right.
but I was essentially one of his first clients. So that's kind of how I started to get into this to get some weight on me because I was skin and bones way back when. So I get certified, and then I tell Johan and his former business partner, like, hey, I'm ready to go. And then the other guy said, oh, yeah, we can't bring you on. We don't have space. Sorry. So I was stuck in this limbo again of like, okay, well, what do I do? I was looking forward to launching a business and always kind of had that in my head. It'd be fun to be a business owner and be self-employed. I just didn't know what to do until this came around. And then, when one day in July 2020, he called me and said that he's leaving, starting his own company, wanted to bring me on. And I said, all right, let's do it.
We launched Unfinished Lifestyle Labor Day 2020.
Yeah.
So in the middle of 2020, when the whole pandemic happened,
And stuff was just opening up. It was so crazy.
We actually made really good amount of money at the time because $1,200 stimulus checks. So we were bringing in 12-week program at $1,200.
Yeah.
People
And
get that
it was
just get
like,
over us.
it was coming in, bro. I made a lot that year. It was
People were still
weird.
at home, the whole thing around the pandemic with health, they were afraid of getting sick and all that, so they're reaching out to us. So it was, there's never a bad time to start a business. And I think we somehow picked like one of the best times to actually start the
Yeah.
business.
And what better way to spend your stimulus check than on yourself?
Exactly.
To be healthy.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we ran on that. And it's not that we took advantage of this situation. It just kind of happened.
But we knew that there was an even larger demographic of people who were wanting help at this point with their health because of what was going on, not just in the US, but around the planet.
Yeah.
So that's where we stepped in and we said, hey, this is what we do. We can help you with it. And then we just set our pricing accordingly to make sure that when people got the stimulus check, if they wanted to use it, they could.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, of course, we're not going to take advantage of people. We just saw that, hey, there's an opportunity. People need our service. They're getting this extra cash. Let's advertise what we're doing and see what happens.
Yeah. It's good to hear a story around the pandemic where two people were successful because all we hear about the pandemic is I lost my job, I lost my life, I lost
Businesses
everything,
closing.
right? But it wasn't all doom and gloom, right? There's a ton of stories out there of people making it big during the pandemic or capitalizing, or it could just be seen as you saw the glass half full instead of seeing the glass half empty, right? Sometimes looking at life through a positive lens ends up starting a business called Unfinished Lifestyle, and here you are today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sadly, it's easy to focus on the negatives. People choose to focus on the negative rather than the positive. No matter how many positive things, 10 good things could happen. The second one bad thing happens, that's the only thing they're going to focus on.
Yeah.
And if you're complaining about something that's happened or already happened, you're wasting time.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to waste any more time.
And the thing about 9 to 5s, man, like I did not want to leave that.
No,
Like
because
I'm going to be honest with you, I did not want to leave it. It's because I was so comfortable making the same paycheck every 2 weeks. You know how much you get paid.
same pay, same schedule, same job responsibilities.
So you two saw a benefit in that.
Yeah,
Well, at the time.
At the time,
Okay, because I actually, the way my brain works, I see that as hell.
No.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
At the time it was, but I also enjoyed where I worked. I'll say I worked for Netflix.
Sure.
I was with Netflix, the actual Netflix, and it was a fun job. I loved everything about it.
Yeah.
But one of my mentors over there, his name was Brandon Cisna. I loved the guy. He trained me getting into management, helped me develop some skills and all that. And he told me that the way he would run his team at work is he would run the team as if it was his own business. So if this was my business, how would I want it to be ran? How would I, want my employees to act? How would I want to coach them? So instead of it being, I'm just working at a call center. These are my employees. They just have to do A, B, and C. It's no, this is your business. So treat it like that. So that's where I started to get the idea of, damn, I think I want to own my own business.
Yeah.
But then I could never think of what would I do because my only skill set was operations management. So
Yeah. And
what can I
the
do
reason
with
why
that?
I said that was like, that was a perfect time because I didn't want to leave is because I didn't know any better at the time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I never had the role model from my parents, from anybody in my circle. None of my friends own any businesses, right? So we were like, this is gold. I mean, I get paid the same thing I can show up late, I can show up whenever, I can leave whenever. I get paid the same. Are you kidding me? This is gold. But the reason why I say that, and I want to mention that, is because people get caught up in that world over time. 10 years later, 20 years later, 50 years later. So you're accumulating this laziness essentially because you're doing the same thing every single day without even making any impact in anything that you do besides the same thing you've been doing the last couple of years. So I understand that feeling, but until you make the leap and do something that you absolutely love, whatever that passion may be. Because remember, we always talk about this. Like if you chase passion, the money will always come.
Right.
But if you chase the money will never be enough. Right. And I didn't have that philosophy until I started my own business. Right. I didn't understand a lot of things until I actually like opened that door and walked through it with no knowledge. No business trainings at all, no mentors at this. Well, the only mentors that I had at the time was my business partner currently at the time before I split, right? Which was not very, which was horrible.
He served a purpose on what not to do with business.
Yes, we learned more what not to do, unfortunately. But when we opened that door, and I remember all of my clients anyway, they're like, no, dude, we're moving with you. We're transition over to you. So every single person transitioned over to Unfinished Lifestyle at the time. And then we just took off right from the gate.
It's a telltale sign of good customer service.
Right? It was right from the gate. So I didn't have to start from scratch. You know what I mean? So when I had him, and then I hired another coach at the time, and then another one. So at one point we had four or five of us at the time. Yeah. And it was just going. But what I'm trying to say is we all been through that 9 to 5. We know the benefits of that. We know we get paid the same thing. But eventually at some point, we all have that friend. We all have social media. And we all ask ourselves, like, how do we do that? How do we get to that? How does he or she goes on vacation 5 times a year? Bora Bora, go to Hawaii. Like Matt, you went to Hawaii, I think once or twice last year? You know what I mean? And so it's like, but no, if you have 9 to 5 jobs,
it's hard to do that.
You can't do that.
I think I got lucky when we were starting Unfinished because my older sister was building her bridal shop at the time. So she had worked for some other bridal shops as like a consultant, but she always wanted to have her own. So around the time we were starting our business, my sister was building her shop, it opened up and she launched. And then my dad's owned his own IT business, on the side from his normal job for, I think since before I was born. So seeing my sister go through and becoming a business owner, granted, her husband makes really good money. So it was good for them to do it, but seeing her live out the dream, my dad having his business and then talking to him about it, telling him what we wanted to do, he was very supportive. At first I thought he was going to be a little bit iffy because I'm telling him instead of working in IT with you, I'm going to become a coach. I didn't know how much money there was in it at the time, so I was afraid to have that conversation. I didn't tell him I got certified for a while. I told my stepmom, and she's like, "Well, when are you going to tell your dad?" I'm like, "I'm not, because he's going to bring me a new one for telling I'm not going to work in IT." But
that's a hard.
It all worked out at the end of the day.
And that was the toughest part for me. His family was very supportive. My family was not. You know what I mean? And that was tough for me. And when I told my mom and my parents that I was going to do this, and they just kind of shrug it off, I'm like, "Oh, okay."
And I'm like, I think people see what we do because we're a health and fitness company, right? But people, when we tell them what it is we do, a lot of the time the response is, "Oh, so you're a personal trainer?" It's like, no, I don't work at a commercial gym. That's not what this is. But then a lot of people, when they find out that this is our full time, some of them are taken aback. Like, wait, this isn't just a hobby for you guys? Like, I thought you just something you offer on the side. It's like, no, this is my everyday. This is what I'm doing 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Like, this is my job. This isn't a hobby. I think that's something that, it shocked a lot of people, but worried a lot of people is just the stigma around the health and fitness industry. That's not a career. That's a hobby.
No. Go ahead.
Well, and that's the same stigma that's around business. Because when I asked my wife's father for her hand, right, before I went to marry her, I called him up and I said, "Hey, I want to marry your daughter." And he goes, "How are you going to support her?" Because at the time I owned my own gym and a laundromat, right? And so he goes, "How are you going to support her?" I was like, "Well, I own my own businesses." And he's like, "That's not a real job. Like, are you going to go to school and get a real job?"
People literally say that's not a real job.
They do. They do all the time. And it comes from a place of, I honestly can't understand how people can think a W-2 is more safe than a business. I understand businesses fail. People get fired too, right? You can be at a company for 30 plus years and all of a sudden new management comes in and they're going to find better ways to make more
Cheaper
money.
ways.
Yeah, cheaper ways.
Yeah.
That's right. The cheaper ways to make
Yeah.
more money, right? And so they come in, they replace you, they bring in the new guy, they pay him half.
Yep.
I mean, so I've never understood that stigma
No,
around
I mean, but that's
businesses.
literally what happened at Netflix is corporate sold our site to a third party company. And then for all of 2019, that third party was trying to figure out what pay structure was going to look like because my position salaried under their umbrella, it's hourly. So there was all this like back and forth, they're trying to figure it out. And then in September of that year, they announced they're going to shut the site down. And it's because of pay. And I found out the people in my position at their other call centers in like Arizona and Florida and all that made like at the time, I think 17 or 18 bucks an hour. And I was salaried. So they could pay 3 of them with just my salary.
Yeah.
And where I
now-
thought this was a guarantee, and I'm like, at some point, I'm like, I'm just going to go into operations management. I'm going to get certifications in it. I'll get Scrum certified, project management, this and that. And then I'm at home sick one day, just took a day off just to rest, and I get a phone call saying I'm going to lose my job at the end of the year.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee with anything. So
No.
why take that risk and why put in all of that work for someone else to make money
Yeah.
just for you to get the short end of the stick and then have to go find a different company to
Yep.
make money for someone else?
And here's the thing too, when you own your own business, if it fails, 99% of the time it's because of you.
Yep.
You didn't put in the time,
Yep.
you weren't willing to grind, right? But when someone gets fired, just like what happened with Netflix,
Mhm.
that wasn't your decision.
Mhm.
You didn't
No.
sit there and go, I hope someone calls me up and fires me,
No.
right? You have no
No.
control over that, right?
I was there
And
for 5 years. I was there when the site opened pretty much, and then I was there the last
Yeah.
day it was open. It
So,
closed.
long story short, being a business owner is better.
Way better.
Right?
Oh my God.
But do you-
This is what I'm saying. Like you ask me, what I found benefit of 9 to 5. Hell yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Because I knew nothing. I knew nothing.
There's comfortability.
It was
and-
oh my gosh, I was so comfortable, man.
But the only responsibility and accountability you have is in the job description when you
Yeah.
apply.
Yeah.
Because as a business owner, that's not how it is. You're responsible for everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That's the fun part.
I just think people don't want to put in the work though. You know, they have these ideas and all that, and then they get self-defeated. And then when they actually, or if they decide they want to do it, they see, I hate social media, dude. I hate it. I hate having to post. I feel so awkward. It took me forever to get comfortable. But I knew, I'm like, if I want to be successful with this, I'm going to have to just do it. I'm going
Yeah.
to have to get over that fear and the uncomfortableness of how I think I look dumb or I sound weird or this and that. And it's,
Yeah, we
You
all
and I
go
had
through
that
that.
conversation.
We all go through that, right? And I probably still do, to be honest, but I don't care anymore.
no, but
That's
it's,
just pushing content.
Yeah.
That's all we do.
yeah. I mean, you got to do what you
Yeah.
got to do. But I'd rather put in the work for my own business and for myself to provide for my family than at a job that I absolutely hate.
Yeah, 100%.
And every Monday I wake up dreading going to work.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So let's unpack this just a little bit more, right? And so we can say that you went from your 9 to 5 job to starting a business because you took a leap, right?
Yep.
But let's break down the analytical side of this. You
Yeah.
can't just take a leap if you don't have any money,
Yeah.
right? And so where were you at finance-wise? Did you save up for years? Did you have the side hustle while you still kept the W-2? What was your strategy to make sure that when you crossed over to that bridge of entrepreneurship, that you were okay?
See, I wasn't okay because Netflix had shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd given us some severance packages. So, you know, if I stayed until the very, very end, I got a certain amount. So starting 2020, unemployed, I had 60 grand in savings. And I was
Nice.
like, cool. So I'm just going to.
Which is really good.
Which is
How
really
old are
good.
you?
At the time?
It shut down
20
2019. So I was, 26?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Something like
60
that.
grand?
Right. Was I
That's
26?
impressive.
How old was I? 26. Yeah, I was 26.
Yeah.
So I had the savings. I lived at home with my dad, you know, in our family, my dad would prefer all of his kids and his grandkids live with him and just, we all stay in one house. But so I was there, could do whatever I want. And that's what I was trying to think. I'm like, okay, I'm in a position where my next job is going to be not just my career, but the last job I do. That's it. I'm not going to go through this again. But as the year started going on, I got certified. Obviously, I have to live off of my savings because I'm not making money. So by the time we launched the business, my savings was close to being depleted
Wow.
because I didn't have a job. I have car payments. I have cell phone bill. I have my things I need to pay. So I guess I had that as a startup, I guess you could say. But other than that, I didn't have the income. I just had to take the leap of faith and hope that the business we started it was going to work out and I could get clients. I know a lot of people will transition into that.
Mm-hmm.
They keep their job, do this on the side until that side thing makes the same amount of money. Once they're making more money, then they quit.
Which is exactly what I did.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to do that. I
Yeah.
had to just I had to put all my eggs in one basket and just hope.
When I did my first show in 2018 and I started, getting clients because I was I'm like, all right, let's start coaching, but I was still doing my 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that I did my first show in October, and I worked my 9 to 5 until January to February. I remember it was Super Bowl weekend. 2019 Super Bowl weekend is when I decided. I woke up Monday morning. I was like, I'm done. But so my safety net at the time was my wife had a full-time job. She was actually working 2 jobs. I think it was a coffee shop and then another part-time job. So
Yeah.
I knew I didn't have any kids at the time. I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, this is the time for me to do that. And we had very minimum bills, so it wasn't like crazy, but it was still hard for us. Like I remember every single month, my wife was like, hey, I think you need to get a second job. My first year coaching, 2019. But before I get to that, so I did my first show, and then I started coaching clients online, essentially. So I wasn't going in and actually training clients. I was just coaching Nick. I was just coaching random people. I was making
You got some random office. We'd go to a Vasa and meet.
yeah, and I was getting paid like $100 a month, right, per client. So that's literally it. And then when I start to build a little bit more, and I promise you, when I say I only had 15 clients, and 15 clients, it paid me, I think,
I paid you $100.
$1,500 a month with 15 clients, right? Roughly, if they pay me about $100 a month, and I took the leap right at $1,500 a month with very very little savings. My wife was working full time. I'm like, dude, this is it.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that situation, though, and this is something that Dwayne Johnson said on one of his interviews. He said, now your back is against the wall. No one's gonna push you, so you're it. And I remember that moment. I'm like, wow, I took the leap. I left my job, and mind you, when I told my boss, love the guy. I'm gonna say his name. His name is Dan Young. He owns PC Laptops here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Okay. So I used to work. I was his executive assistant and all that fun stuff. And when I told him that I was going to leave to do this, he said to me to my face, he said, yo, you can stay in the next couple of years. You can make $100K or more, or you can leave and do your own thing. But I got to tell you this, though, to my face in his office right before I left, he goes, every personal trainer that I know, they're all broke, to my face. And then I didn't react to that. I just took the energy. I'm like, Dan, like if that's how you feel, I'm sorry. But this is something that I love. This is my passion. This is something that I would love to do, and I want to help people. Genuinely help people. And if you don't support that, that's okay. And I took the energy and I applied it to my own business, and it took off 2 years. 2 years later, he texted me back. 2 years later, he texted me back and said, "Hey man, I'm doing this video thing about how I'm helping people to be an entrepreneur. Can you do a 2-minute video how I inspire you to be an entrepreneur?" I'm like, are you kidding me?
I mean, he inspired you in the sense of like, okay, well, I'm going to prove you wrong.
I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Exactly. So in a way, he kind of did. But back to your question was, I took the leap, and without having any much money, like I was only making $1,500 to $2,000 at the time a month. And I didn't know I was going to get any new clients, but my safety net was my wife supported me. She paid the bills. We barely made it, but she paid all the bills. And every month, I remember we didn't have a lot going on, and we didn't have any kids at the time, right? Every month she was like, babe, even though she believed in me, she was like, you might need a second job every month for a full year, bro. Every month when the bill comes, she goes, hey, you might need to, can you find like a second job for now to kind of get you, on your feet. And I said, babe, just give me some time. So it literally exactly 12 months later, it took off. Boom. Then I started getting more clients. And it was just, and that was 2020.
Yeah.
No.
And that was going into 2020.
I remember at one point in 2020, she's now my wife, but she was just my girlfriend at the time. And we'd only been dating, I think, a couple of months. And I didn't want to tell her, that I was getting low on cash and having a hard time paying for things. I'm like, I'll just figure it out. And she kind of got like the feeling that's what was going on. She Venmo'd me $1,000.
Wow.
Like, here. She's like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm here to support you. Pay your bills. Let me know what you need. I was like, oh.
I think
the most, why I married her.
Honestly, I know this is off subject, but the most important decision as a man that we need to make is finding the right partner.
Yeah.
Like 1,000%.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
If without Hannah, you wouldn't be where you're at today.
No.
Nope.
He wouldn't be where he is today.
Without my wife, there's no way. No one would put up with what we had to do and get to this point.
No.
So when I heard someone, it was like a billionaire that I saw on YouTube said that, and because they were doing some kind of interviews, right? Because he was driving a Bugatti, and he was like, "Hey, any advice?" And the first thing he said was, "The most important decision as a man, if you want to be successful in anything that you want to do, find the right partner."
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, because it's true.
Yeah.
People look at me and people look at us. I'm like, oh, you guys are so successful, da, 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 da. And I'm over here like, I don't think you understand how much he did.
What bothers me with that is when people look at what we do or what we have and say you're lucky. It's like, no, like this isn't a luck thing. Like you don't understand. I mean, I had the conversation that him and his wife had, I had with my wife, but it was me saying it. Like, I think I need to get a second job, or I think I got to stop.
Yeah.
Like this isn't working, right? Because I'm trying to think of her now that we have a baby. At the time we were planning on trying to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much unknown. I'm like, how am I supposed to support a family if this is what's going on? But my wife was the one who was telling me not to do it. And she owns 2 businesses as well. Mm-hmm. So having my wife, she's working her job, but that she absolutely loves. She owns 2 businesses. I built both of mine. He built his. Mm-hmm. It's not just your spouse and your partner, but just your circle of friends who you hang around with.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that unfortunately I don't talk to anymore. Not just because, not for any particular reason, aside from they still wanted to live one lifestyle, I didn't, so we just kind of grew apart.
Yeah.
And it's hard to build a business and do these things in focus when you're getting texts, hey, we're going to go to the bar, we're going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings, let's go out and hang out. It's like, well, I can't.
Yeah.
I got to do this. Well, you can take a break. So I could take a break, but then someone else is going to make the money and I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we actually went into that. You must have read my mind, because one of the things that's so important is Tony Robbins says we're the average of the 5 people we hang out with the most, right? And if you're hanging out with toxic people, you're a toxic person. Sorry.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that, you just got fact checked, right? Because if all of your friends, look at your friends, if all of your friends are broke, you're broke. Yeah. Sorry, right?
We're part of each other's average.
Yeah, wow. That's how it is, right? And so, I'm glad that you brought that up, because the support system, I have over 200 employees with my companies, right? And the number one thing that I see that is the difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person, it's not necessarily them. It's what's going on in their personal life, right? And if what's going on in their personal life is so much that they carry it through the door when they show up to work, they can't perform, right? No. And so when I started one of my first businesses, right, my wife was right there painting the gym with me. We painted the walls red. Actually, she was my girlfriend at the time, right? And my uncle was helping me doing this business and everything. And she comes in and she notices we're painting, and she notices we had to do the baseboards red, right? And so she gets down on her hands and knees and starts painting the baseboards red. And my uncle looks at me and goes, "That's a keeper, bro."
Yep.
And I was like, "How do you know?" And she goes, This isn't even hers. Like she's rolling up her sleeves and she's painting.
You two could have easily broken up, and then she's like, "I just wasted my time helping that guy."
Yeah, no, but that's a keeper for sure. And so 100% what Yo said. People that are listening out there, please, please, please get your support system right. You are not going to be successful in life if you come home and someone is spending all of your money. Now, we all have jokes to where our wives buy way too many Amazon packages, right?
I don't want to go there.
I'm trying to think of how many I had to pick up from the door today. I honestly think I grabbed 2 or 3 packages from the door today. So far from my wife.
But the thing is, they can, right?
Yeah, they can.
And they can 100%, and they've earned it.
Once I tell them, if we have the money, bills are paid, we have the money, and you want to get something, that's fine. But obviously, like if the only way to get it means you got to put on a credit card, like then no, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
exactly. We got the money, and she's buying. I don't even know what she buys half the time.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that people don't understand too. Like, and I never got that until I was older too. Like, no one ever said, "Hey, man, you want to be successful, you got to find the right partner." No one ever said that to me, ever. Not even from my parents. So growing up, but I think the only people that have that type of mentality is if you actually want to own your own business, if something that you want to do for yourself, you got to leave that W-4, right? And do something that you really want to do. And if you're single and you're listening to this, and that's okay. If you don't have a wife or a girlfriend, that's okay.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
That's great.
Go get it, right?
Because then you have no distractions.
Yeah.
But your circle of friends.
Yeah, look at those.
Then it's what matters though.
Yep.
Yeah. Right?
Well, I remember when I met my wife, we went on our first date. I was prepping for my first bodybuilding show, and I told her, we went out to eat, and I said, "Hey, I'm wanting to try a bodybuilding show just to see, if I like it." Because at the time, Johan just kept pestering me to do it. And I just want to, and now it's like all I want to do. But I was like, "I'm doing this. I don't know what I'm going to do for work. I'm kind of doing some side stuff for my dad's IT business just to make a couple bucks here and there. I'm trying to figure out a career. These are the things I'm trying to do. If you're okay with that, great. If at any point you think that's going to cause an issue and you're not going to be supportive, tell me now, and let's just enjoy dinner and we'll go our separate ways.
Communication.
Yeah, and so I set that expectation right then and there. She's like, no, I'm fine with that.
Yep.
She's like, tell me what I can do to help. And she did. And here we are.
Yep. Communication.
And the funny thing about, you know, having the spouse is when I wanted to do a show, my wife said no.
Yeah.
When I wanted to become a coach, my wife said no.
Mhm.
And my point is you're gonna run into that space of there's doors all over the place.
Mhm.
Sometimes it could be the person next to you. I'm like, oh, I don't know, we should do that. But I think it's the communication that I had with her
Yeah.
and just the trust that I had,
Yeah.
and that she allowed me to, okay, you know what, let's give it a chance. Because I've done nothing to what do you call it, to sabotage the trust,
Yeah.
right? I've done nothing. So she gave me a chance to do that. But because she did that, now we're here. Imagine if she never wanted me to be a coach,
Right.
never wanted me to be a bodybuilder, and that
Yeah.
was I probably would not be married today.
You know, and that's a little bit of a blessing in disguise when we have our significant other that says no. And let me explain why. Because most entrepreneurs are dreamers, right? And we get our heads in the clouds and we think of these things that are astronomical. And we don't think of our next step. We just think, go, right? We're just going to figure it out along the way.
Because if you think of next steps, you're going to probably defeat yourself before you even start.
Right.
So it's like, all right,
And
let's
so,
do this,
and that's what makes an entrepreneur a true entrepreneur. We just go, right?
go.
But when you have your better half saying, no, hold on, think this through a little bit. And by her saying no, you probably thought it through really well. You're like, is she right?
Yeah.
Should I not do this? And then you went back through your head, you thought it over again.
And I
You're
went
like,
back.
no, I'm really positive that I'm going to launch this and it's going to be successful, right? So then you just had that motivation to go forward. But I, for one, am at least grateful that my wife is more of a realist.
Yeah.
I'm a dreamer. She's
Yeah.
a realist.
That's
right?
my
Yeah,
wife.
we're all the
but-
same.
Yeah.
But her saying no, it wasn't just a no and then that's it. It was a no because she didn't know how it was going to work.
No.
Yes.
And it's not that there was nothing you did to sabotage trust in her to say no, but it gave you an opportunity to build that trust with not just with your partner, but with yourself. And then you two do it together. And then you can show her, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important part. Like
Yeah.
if you know, people listening, if your spouse or your partner or anyone says no, you know, clarify what does that no mean? Does that no just simply mean like, no, you don't support me at all? Or is it a no until I explain to you and show you I can do it?
Yeah.
So once you build that trust and you two work together, now they believe in you. You have your support system. It gives you the motivation to keep going. And then you can bring them into it.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
having my
the-
businesses, my wife has hers. We don't really, you know, get into each other's businesses,
Yeah.
but we help each other. We'll sit down and she'll work on her marketing stuff while I do my social media things, and we'll plan things and goals together and all that. And that actually made our relationship stronger because now I see my wife working, she sees me working, and we're motivated to do this together, and we're actually having fun with it.
Yeah.
And we, even though Nick and I are the face of the company, Jess, my wife, is actually the CEO of the company.
She does a lot of the
She
back
does
stuff.
everything that has our logo, or if we travel, she gets our flights. I mean, everything she does is all back end stuff. So technically, she is a part of the company. Nobody sees that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't touch any of that. Like I just focus on clients, myself, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's all. It's all I focus on.
Yep.
Yeah. So your business is Unfinished Lifestyle. You help people transform their lives,
Yep.
right? You're not personal trainers, but you are
We're health coaches.
Health
you're
coach.
health coaches,
That's
right?
what I put
That's a
in,
better way to say it, right? And so being a health coach, let's break down one last thing about the money. Let's break down how much can a health coach really make? Because you said before, someone said most health coaches are broke. And I'd kind of say that's
Personal
kind of
trainers.
true.
Personal trainers.
Personal
are.
trainers.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say personal trainers are.
Okay.
Personal trainers, if you have whatever certifications you have and you work for a big box gym like Vasa, EOS, or Lifetime, depending on your certs level, I think Lifetime make maybe a little more than that, than average human being.
Are they
But
paid salary or do you get a commission?
They just get commission off of
Yeah.
each individual.
It's an hourly, then
plus
you get a
probably
Okay.
probably hourly
Yeah.
too.
yeah.
And so they cap though. I think they cap at 60, maybe 70, maybe 80. I don't know if they're lucky if I hit that number.
Yeah.
But if you take that skill and you create your own business and you help someone from top to bottom actually have your own space, have your own gym, you can potentially make minimum 100 to 200 minimum, up to 500K a year.
Okay.
I have mentors of mine that helps me with my business that would bring in 300 to 500K a year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, but that's because they've been doing this for decades.
Yeah.
Their ticket, they're literally their one client ticket for 24 weeks, bro. They're pulling in 8 to 10 grand per client. No training whatsoever, just consultation, face-to-face nutrition, and that's it. Measurements or whatever.
Yeah.
But they've been doing it for so long, and they have a very, very high-end clientele, which I understand that. To me, that's a little too excessive. And I'm not saying I don't want to make that much. I'm saying that we help.
We're in this to actually help people.
We
have
help
a pricing. We got to make it affordable, right? If people want our help, we got to make it something that they can actually pay for. Not, oh, hey, sorry, you're not in my price range.
Yeah.
You know, you can't afford me kind of a
So
deal.
I average between 35 to 45 clients. That's my average.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go above that, sometimes I go below that.
Yeah.
But it's very, very obviously detail matters. So if I go below 35, I'm okay because my monthly residual, because what happens, clients pay me 24 weeks up front. So if you're a coach and or a trainer listening to this right now, get away from monthly payments. You have to get away from monthly payments. That is the number one thing that I was taught from one of my mentors at the time. And I was like, why? And he goes, listen, bro, if they pay you monthly, whether they pay you $500 or $1,000 a month, right? You make good money if you have, 30 plus clients.
Yeah.
But if they keep continuing to make that monthly a year to 2 years later, and they're not making any changes, you will lose more business because they look at Matt, they'll look at you and be like, Matt, you look the same. Who's your coach again? How long have you been with him?
Yeah.
What, a year?
It's a
I'm
walking
like,
business card.
Yeah. I'm like,
that's
I don't-
exactly what it is.
I don't want to work with Yo.
Yeah.
But in their mind, whoa, I'm making all this money right now. The instant gratification. That's because they worry about the monthly payments, right? They only want to see the money coming in every single month. Now, if you take them and 24 weeks up front, like you do, 24 weeks up front, we know you're dedicated. You already paid for it, right? You show up no matter what because you already paid for it.
Yeah.
If you don't show up,
Even if you don't, we still got paid.
if you don't show up,
Right.
we got paid.
But with
right?
monthly, if we're charging $250, $300 a month, if we're trying to just do something for someone, they could very easily just disappear the next month, and that's happened to us. Enough times to where we're like, yeah, we're done.
That makes sense.
So I'm going to give you a little breakdown of when I started, right? My first year, I think I came in at 55, barely above water. And that was 2019. 2020, I hit 105.
You
Yeah.
doubled. Almost doubled. Yeah. Yeah.
2021, 200.
Okay.
Right? So when you look at that number, and I look back and I'm like, holy shit, I remember when I first hit 10 grand a month. I'm like celebrating. Wow.
Yeah. A big
I'm like,
milestone.
yeah. I'm like, whoa. And then I remember when I hit 12. I remember when I hit 18. And now my biggest month so far is 34.
Wow.
And I'm like, yo, this is it, right?
Yep.
And so now that I'm in that level and we have continuation of referrals coming in, I don't have to worry about money anymore. And I knew somewhere around every single year I'll make close to 200, if not a little bit more, and to move forward. If we scale a little bit further, if I increase my pricing, obviously I'll make more, right? So that comes with time, comes with experience. So to give you a little bit more context, that is where you could potentially be if you want to be a coach. There's, again, some coaches been doing this for 10 years or plus. They're hitting, 300, 400, 500 with a team of people, right? It's not just, you never do this alone.
No, you can't do it alone. But not just that. It's people. There's a lot of people who do think, I'll just get the certifications, become a personal trainer, whatever you want to call it, and I can start making this kind of money. It's like, well, no. This is not just years of us having to put in the work, but continued education.
Yes.
If you really want to be able to help people and have people see the value in what it is that you're doing, that you can help them, you can't just get a little thing saying that you know how to tell someone how to pick up a dumbbell. You've got to do more. So we learned the exercise portion, the physiology, the anatomy. We have the nutrition background. Now I'm doing oncology nutrition. Johan does a lot of the mindset stuff. We read blood work. We didn't have to. We got to the point where if people came in to work with us, we said, hey, go get your blood work done. Let's just see if the doctor finds anything. If they don't, then you're good to go. It was just a recommendation, but now it's a requirement. And we read that. We can't diagnose them, but we can still read it. We've read your blood work before. And we're like, hey, there's some things we need to correct, and then we can adjust the meal plan accordingly. But because we know what we're talking about, when we go that far, a lot of times people do come in thinking that we're just going to give them a meal guide and some exercises, and they're going to make all these changes and this and that. It's like, no, there's
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many nights we've been up in the middle of the night and we're working, reading a blood panel, we're doing a research, we're having to figure things out.
And it's not just us.
No.
Like if we need to bring in like an MP or like one of our friends that are in that medical side of things or working at a hospital,
Who can do certain things for us, we have to bring them in.
We bring them in to read the blood work and understand what's going on behind the scenes. And with Matt, like, can you imagine like if we didn't read your blood work? Can you imagine?
Yeah. I'd still have high cholesterol. Right? I'd still have high blood pressure. I wouldn't have lost any weight because my glucose would still be crap. Right?
Exactly.
So we had to take it to that extra step. So I mean, I guess it's how much money can you make doing what we do?
Yeah.
Technically, I think you could say it's unlimited. You can make as much as you want, depending on how much work you're willing to put in and how much education you're willing to get behind it. If you're just wanting to, coach some people and some friends in the gym, make some money on the side, you could probably make a couple thousand a month, maybe. If you really wanted to spend your weekends doing that. But if you want this to be your career and you go get the education behind it, you can make
really good. And this is coming from someone that doesn't have 1 million followers.
No.
If you build your own brand on social media, like a lot of the fitness influencers we know, they have millions in TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever the case may be. So we have a lot of followers in all platforms. That then you can go into selling $199 package.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You can afford to
sell
do
that for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, $200. And I mean, if you have, let's say you have 15,000 followers and you get 1,000 of them to sign up, there's a good chunk of change.
But if you don't,
we don't have the followers
like we did. So we had to start from scratch from monthly. We did monthly payments, and then we transitioned from monthly to 12 weeks.
Yep.
So once everyone transferred to 12 weeks, and we new clients for 12 weeks at a time upfront, and then we go leap to 24 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And that's our cap. We can't go a year because if you're excuse my language, but if you're a shitty client and I'm stuck with you for a year, oh my gosh, I can't do that. So 24 weeks at a time, it's all we're doing. You have to earn another 24 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just
and when you told that to me, I was like, oh, I gotta work for this, right? It creates a responsibility in your client to go, oh, he can fire me.
Yes.
I better put it to work, right?
But
that's a genius business.
It's there to protect us and to just show people that yes, we have families we gotta take care of. We have our own bills to pay, but we're not in this for the money. If we were in this for the money, I don't care how of a client you are.
Anybody.
Yeah, I'll take anyone and anyone who's going to give me the cash.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've had people who we say or they want to renew for 24 weeks, and we tell them no. Hey, you've got way too much going on. I need you to go figure that out and then come back when you're ready. And they're like, dude, I'll pay you double. I'll pay you triple. Just tell me a number and I'll pay it. I'm like, that's great, but that's not going to solve the root cause of you're just a client. You've got external things you need to work on, So if you're chasing the money and all that, and you're just going to take anyone who gives you a paycheck, I mean, sure, you're making a lot of money, but it's your reputation that's going to take a hit. Yeah, and we can't afford that.
I mentor a couple of, a lot of coaches here in Utah. And the first thing I ask, and when they ask me about business questions and how do I get from point A to point B, and I'm like, okay, hold on a second. Let me ask you some questions. Number one, how many clients do you have? They typically have 10 to 15. Yep. Okay. And then, what's your monthly payment? I already knew they start with monthly. And I know that because we started that.
Yeah.
And so when I tell them to transition to 12 weeks and 24 weeks, their brain shuts down because they're like, well, what if I can't convert?
Yeah.
What if I can't get new clients? What if I can't do this? Okay, I'm gonna tell you something right now. If you're stuck at making $250 or $300 a month per client, those are the only clients that you're gonna get for life. You're never gonna go above that. What I mean by that is if you wanna work with a higher clientele clients, you gotta start raising the price. Because remember, every year you do this job or whatever passion that you wanna do, you're gonna get better. You have more experience. Yep. You have better products. Yep. You have better websites. Yep. You're right. You have your knowledge. Yep. You're going to increase your price. Yep. If you're continuing to get $150 people because they can't afford it, then you're stuck at the bottom feeders essentially.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that, I'm thinking about it, goes back to these individuals who worked at a 9-to-5 in a salary job, is they don't know their market value. Right. So to set a price and say, this is what I'm worth, it's X amount. You don't know what that is because you're applying for a job that's telling you we're going to pay you $70K a year.
Right.
So to have to come up with that number, that upfront number, and sound confident and tell people this is what I charge, this is what I offer, and then just leave it there. Most people can't do that because they don't believe in themselves. They're like, well, I'm not worth I'm not worth it, $1,200 or whatever the price is.
Let me point this out. How many times me and you have that conversation?
Holy Lord.
When him and I first started and I brought him in and he had the conversation with me, I'm like, well, I don't want to charge that much. And I'm like, Nick.
Because for me, it was, I wanted, obviously I want to help people. That's the whole point of this is I want people from my own past experience and health issues, just like what Johan had. I was in this to help people so they don't have to deal with that stuff or feel the way I felt. And so at the time I was struggling. It was almost like, I saw it as like a morality thing of, well, if I want to help people, how can I justify feeling good about myself when I'm charging them this much and they can't afford it when they're coming to me for help? And he's like, dude, if they're coming to you for help and they trust you, they're going to pay it.
Yeah.
So I remember my first client, Bree, at our old gym, she came in and I pitched our 12-week program for $1,000. And I was trying to sound as confident as I could, and my foot is like shaking out of the table. I can feel myself sweating. My blood pressure is going up. I was so nervous. And she's like, yeah, okay. I was like, oh my, what? So we got the payment. She said yes. I hit my Venmo. She walked out. I called my wife. I'm like, babe, I just made $1,000. I was so excited. And now, we charge more than that. But now it's, I know my value. I know my worth. I know what my time is worth.
Yeah.
Because again, we're not just giving you workouts and a meal guide. I'm looking at your blood. It's to the point now I'm helping my clients figure out what medications they need to get on so I can send them to an NP to get a prescription. We're going full like medical side with it.
Yep.
So if I'm putting in that much effort to help you not just lose fat, recomp your body, but correct these health issues so you have a quality of life from now until your last breath, I've gotta charge what I think that's worth.
Yeah. How do you? So here's the interesting thing about this. Someone that's on the other side of the table with Coach Yo and Coach Nick is me personally, right? If Coach Yo and Coach Nick came to me and said, we're raising our prices to $10,000 a month, right? I would pay that. I am not joking. I would 100% pay that because my health is the best it's ever been. I'm 34 years old and my health is the best it's ever been, right? I am stronger. I'm more agile. I mean, everything, right? And so here's the tricky part though. What I know now, I would pay that because of what I am today.
Correct.
But how do you get somebody who doesn't know what you're about to deliver them to pay what you're asking them to pay per month?
Wait, what do you mean?
Or for 24 weeks?
Because 99% of the people we meet with are referrals from current clientele.
Yeah.
So we don't sell our programming. We say that a lot. When we have to sell it,
Yeah.
when you come in for a consult with us and we have to convince you to work with us, most of the time, it's not going to work out, which is fine. We want you to find the person you feel comfortable working with, but you're our walking business card, Matt. People see, you tell them, hey, I'm working with these guys over at Unfinished Lifestyle and we'll be doing this. Like, oh yeah, okay. Because what happens was when friends and family tell us that they're going on a diet or they're going to be doing these stuff to lose weight, they fall off, a month later, a couple of weeks later, maybe 6 months later. But then, so it's 24 weeks, you pay up front. Now you're committed. You start making the changes. Your friends and family start teasing you like, oh, you sure you don't want to eat the cookie? You don't want the slice of pizza? And you're like, no, I'm at the family dinner with my meals. And they start to see that you're consistent and you're dedicated. And then one day they see you and they're like, holy hell, look at Matt. He's made these changes.
Yeah.
And then it goes from them picking
That's
on you
when it gets
to,
fun.
hey, how did you do that? Can you help me? Can I have your meal plan? You're like, well, no, go talk to these guys. There's still a little bit of like hesitancy behind it. A year goes by and they see that you not only stuck with it, but where you're at, how you're feeling, and just every aspect of your life has changed mentally, physically, emotionally, and now they're bought in.
Yeah.
So when you say, hey guys, so-and-so is going to reach out, they come in for a consult, 9 times out of 10, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
We almost have to calm them down. Like, hey, I know you want to pay us,
Yeah.
but
That was me.
Yeah.
100%. That was me. I was ready to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is great. Then that shows that we know what we're doing. People are excited, but we want to make sure like, hey, first let's understand what the program is, what the expectations are, what you're going to do. Then if you want to pay, we'll do it then. But we know the second we get a referral from someone, it's pretty
game
much
over.
locked in. We don't have to sell it because you already did for us. They just come in to get the fine details to figure out what it is they got to do. And then that's it.
But if someone found us on Instagram, Google,
through a reel,
Facebook, or
Which
Utah, Connect Utah.
yeah, it's happening more often than not now that people are finding us.
Through our podcast, actually. Like they listen to the whole podcast, your podcast. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I love what you did with Matthew. Like I want to work with you.
Yeah.
So well, do you know that? No, I just came across a clip on Instagram going through Reels one night and then found your page and followed it and listened to it and blah blah blah. It's like, oh, so that's good that we're getting that reach. But now they're invested in your story but they're not yet invested in the program because they didn't actually see you go through. They just heard you come on the podcast and talk about your journey. Yeah. So we still have to, at a certain point, sell. So
we kind of have to sell a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But we don't like to sell it because we want you to come in. We want you to be 100% ready because this is something that we can't force people to do.
Right.
You have to be ready.
Yeah.
I can't make you lose weight
until you have that oh crap moment.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it. So you're gonna have a very hard time sticking.
So for the person that found us on social media, we have to go a little bit more details of what we do. We have to basically sell them our program essentially, and we don't give them a discount right off the bat, $3,500, $3,000 right off the bat for 24-week program. But if you send someone else in, then we'll give them like $100 to $200 or maybe $300 discount depending on the individual, where they're at in
their
life.
Situation,
depending on their situation. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if they come in and if you refer someone else and they own their own business and they're successful and you know him, you vetted that, you text me and that person messaged me back, 3,000, no problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the nice thing at that point is not only are you our walking business card, but you almost do the interview for us.
Yeah.
So we know that Matt, all of our clients, aren't going to send us clients.
Right.
You're going to send some people that you know are going to do it.
Yeah.
So that right there already takes a load off of our plate that we don't have to worry about. Is this person getting we get the odd bad egg here and there, but for the most part, if it's a referral, they're going to sign up and we know they're going to stick with it.
And majority of the time, they're going to say, hey, do you know how much you pay? And then you tell them how much you pay.
Yeah.
And then so they know the ballpark.
Yeah,
they already know
an
the
estimate.
ballpark. And sometimes my prices goes up depending on my availability. If I have like no availability, bro, like dude, like you're paying a lot more.
Yeah. Because at that point we have to put you at a time where we usually try to be done by 8:00 at night. So if we have to put you at 8, so now we're not done until 9, and that's less time at home with the wife and the kids. Like I can't help my wife put my daughter to bed. It's not that I want to do it, but hey, okay, I'll take you, but just understand I'm going to charge extra because this is taking away from some family time.
Yeah. What would you say the biggest difference is between a personal trainer and a health coach?
Education.
Ooh, yeah.
I'd say level of education.
100% education, but I think personal trainer, they're only supposed to have one certification because most personal trainers are not nutritionists.
No.
We have both.
Yep.
So personal trainers, they can only work with Advasa, EOS, Lifetime. They can only coach you while you're training them.
Yep. They technically can't or should not be giving you any nutritional advice.
No nutritional advice, no meal plan, none of that.
Yep.
None of that.
So do you have to have a certain certificate or license in order to give people meal plan advice?
Essentially, yes.
What is that?
You have to be a licensed, certified nutritionist, which is what we got. So just
through ISSA, you could do it through NASM.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of different areas, but a lot of health professionals, I would say, or personal trainers, they came from an IFBB Pro background. Mm-hmm. So they're using that.
Yeah, they're using the fact that they've done bodybuilding shows to justify being able to give you nutritional advice. But they're just giving you the advice that their coach gave them to get them ready for that show. So I can't take someone who's 300 pounds or has high cholesterol or a fatty liver or what have you and put them through a bodybuilder's nutritional program. That's not how that's going to work.
The problem with that is the IFBB pros, they're limiting themselves because one, they focus purely on essentially bodybuilders, right? Yep. Because that's what they know. I'm sure they probably have some lifestyle, but they don't understand the fundamental of a lot of things, like for example, the emotional and the mental aspects of that. Do you think they're going to have time to really spend time with their clients and say, hey man, what is your relationship with food? What does that look like?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not going to do that. And I'm not saying all of them do that. I'm sure there's some IFBB pro.
There's a lot that have the knowledge in the background, but a lot 100%. Of the pros or people who are just lean and cut, and muscular, they're advertising their own physique to get clients.
Themselves.
We hardly post about ourselves. I mean, you see that, right? Yeah, it's our social media. If you go and look, you'll see the odd picture clients. Of us here and there. Now that, where I'm getting ready for a show in a couple of weeks, I am going to do a photo shoot just so I have the pictures for myself and all that. And, I'll maybe post a couple here and there, but we want to post our clients because that's what people want to see. They want to see not just the comparison of before and after. They want to see the whole journey as much as we can document it. So we want to show you off because you put in the work.
Yeah.
And we know a lot of coaches that are IFBB pros that have a lot of clients, but they don't have the community that we have.
Well, they don't have the transformations.
And they don't have the transformations that we have. And they don't make the money that we have either. Yep. Right? Because they're, again, stuck at that number, 250, 300. So they have no business background whatsoever because that's what they know, what they learn from their coaches, right? And there's a lot of coaches now are now influencers that are mentors that do mentorships with themselves as well, and that could be valuable. A lot of them are really, really awesome. Some of them not so good.
Yeah.
A lot of them can get clients based off of their followers and their physique, but it doesn't mean that they're a good coach. 9 times out of 10, when they look really, really good and they post all about themselves, 9 times out of 10, when you look at their software, their program, and what the meal plan looks like, it is dog shit. It's horrible.
It's just spreadsheets, and then they just type out what they want, or they'll send you a text like, okay, here's what I want you to eat. We paid money for an actual, Diet Master Pro nutritional program to build meal plans in that give you the macros that breaks everything down. So we have that, and
then we use the fitness app. We have our own fitness app.
Our own app to check in through that, where we're putting workout tutorials in. We have. I think the difference, to go back to a personal trainer and health coach, is personal trainer will just teach you how to exercise, where a health coach is going to correct your overall health and just improve your quality of life in every aspect.
Yeah.
Physical, mental, emotional.
Gotcha.
That's the difference.
What's your biggest challenge that you face running a health coaching business?
Challenges? Honestly, we the only challenges that I think we have is, that's a tough one because I don't feel like there's a lot of challenges sometimes.
I don't think necessarily running the business. For me, I think the biggest challenge is.
I think it could be, honestly, I think it could be client retention.
Mm-hmm. Client retention. When you first start, like right now, we don't have issues with that because a lot of coaches do have client retention. What that means is they can get so many clients in 1 week, but they can't retain them after a month or two.
Because they're not happy with the results or with the program, or false expectations were set.
Yeah.
Where with us, people come in, they're referral, they know to a certain extent what they're going to have to do. They get the fine details, see what it is they have to do, and that's all up front, and it's a fair amount.
Here's a good one.
And then they're going to stick to it.
Here's a good one. So I think the biggest challenge for me personally is sometimes 1 month I can get 5 clients, maybe 10. Another 2-3 months, I get 2.
Yeah.
But I have my residuals, my monthly renewal. So every 6 months you renew, right? Yep. So every month I have people renewing their program. So I know my minimum. But if I get 2, 3, 4, 5 clients on top of that, okay, I'm hitting 20, 30K. Yep. And so I'm already safe right there. Yep. But for a lot of people that don't have that luxury. So
it takes a while to get that set up.
It takes a while.
You have to try to get a bunch up front to the point where every month you have renewals. Yeah. I think for me, the biggest challenge with the business and just what it is we do is helping people to stick to their goal, because they come in thinking it's instant gratification. They're going to get the results quick. Yeah. When you can attest to it, man, it's not quick. No. A lot of times it seems simple. Eat the food that we prescribe. You're going to go to the gym, send your check in, drink your water, get your steps in. That sounds easy to do. Those 5 things I can do. But when you're actually doing it, it is difficult. When your wife's coming home with McDonald's with the kids and they're eating it, and you got to eat your food, right? If you're cutting, you got to eat your chicken and rice. You got to go do your hour of cardio. Sorry, you're not going to be allowed the popcorn when you go to the movies. So having to hold people accountable to following what it is that we're telling them to do, to me, I think that
is a very difficult question, because I don't feel like I have a lot of challenges. Yeah. It seems like, because we when you love what you do and you do everything you can, when
it's not a challenge.
No,
it's not really a challenge.
No, you can resolve challenges. No. There's things about the business that make it a little bit tough, but that just comes along.
I mean, if you're talking about externally, like the only other challenge that we have is we have a lot of influencers on social media telling people what not to eat, what to do, what
we're battling a lot of false information, people who are fear mongers, right? In the health industry, especially with what's going on right now, and in the world, and it's just people who want to spread fear, or they intentionally say things that are wrong and incorrect to scare people, so they get views, they get clicks, they get comments, they get likes, they get shares, so they can get paid through that.
Yeah.
They have to know what it is that they're spreading is false and incorrect. But just the fact that people are sharing their content, they're making money off of that. They don't care what it is they spread. So then we're wanting we prescribe a meal plan. We say, hey, breakfast, let's do oatmeal, let's throw some bananas in there and some berries, we'll do some peanut butter. Well, I saw Gary Brecka said I'm not allowed to eat oatmeal because if I do, I'm going to poison myself. So if I hear that one more time, I'm going to find him and bash his face out of this
It's
table.
horrible.
Like, so we have to combat false information.
Yeah.
And not just that, but then we have to change this person's worldview and not just convince them that what we're saying is right. I have to give them proof that what I'm saying is right. So
I guess
that's probably the biggest challenge we face is having to deal with.
Yeah. So I guess
just
another
terrible
challenge
people.
is what he said was, people come in and they want to lose 50 pounds in 30 days. That is probably our other
If
challenges.
that happens, you're going to be in
When
hospital.
there's
we
a
don't-
million people
Oh my
online saying,
God.
Yeah.
I can make you lose 50 pounds in 30 days.
I can't
And then
tell
I
you
go,
how many-
yo, Nick, why can't you do that? Fulano over there on
Exactly.
YouTube, Ken.
We'll see, 30, I help busy moms lose 30 plus pounds in 12 weeks and this and that. And when you see that in someone's bio, or if that's what they're using to advertise their program,
Scam
they're a
artists.
terrible coach and they're
Right.
taking your money.
Yeah.
Run.
People come in and they ask us all the time, how much weight do you think I can lose in 24 weeks?
We
I don't know.
We
I
don't
can tell you how many of our clients in the 24 weeks they're with us on the scale, it fluctuates maybe 3 or 4 pounds. But when we're not looking at the scale, we're doing DEXA body scan to measure body fat and muscle, right?
Body composition.
We're doing body comp inches and this and that. So we can have someone who on the scale is fluctuating only 3 or 4 pounds, but inches, we're losing 12 inches on their waist. We're losing 5 inches on their hips. We're looking at body fat percentage through DEXA, and we've dropped 10% body fat and added 15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
So we're not going off of the scale, right? So
unless you're severely obese.
Yeah.
When you're severely obese, I'm like, all right,
then
bro, we
we
got to
need to
lose
get
weight.
that number down.
Yeah.
We got to lose weight, homie.
Yep.
Like right now.
But
You know what I mean?
naturally, when that number comes down, so does the
Yeah.
inches and the body fat.
100%.
Exactly.
When
But
you're
no, we're
obese,
not
right?
going to do these like, we're going to do an 8-week challenge and whoever has the best transformation is going to win $200. Like, what did you learn at the end of the 8 weeks that you can make $200 by
that
just
is
suffering?
such a good question about the challenges. I don't
Yeah.
really feel like we have.
I don't think with running the business or
I
anything
don't-
like that, there's challenges. I think we
Yeah.
deal with just the challenges of having to deal with. I'm just gonna say we have to deal with stupid people. Spreading information that then when people come to us spitting it out, we have to correct it.
Yeah.
But
That's-
that's part of your business world, right? That's the
Yeah.
world that you live in.
But it happens in
And
every
I would say one
business.
of your biggest challenges too, because you're right. I came with X and Y mindset
Yep.
of this is how it's going to work.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden I'm gaining weight in the
Yeah.
first 8 weeks. And I'm sitting there calling Coach Yo and be like, dude, I'm gaining weight here. I don't want to do this. I'm already
Yep.
fat. Why am I gaining weight?
Yeah.
He goes, bro,
You're
trust
fine.
the process. You got to go up before you can go
Yes.
down. Yeah, it's
Well, I mean, we get people come in and you can probably talk to it and speak to it. Is they come in thinking so they're gonna so I'm gonna get a meal plan and then they're gonna take food away as I'm losing weight. But then you come in and we're like, okay, here's your plan. You start eating it and you text Yo, and I know this is how it goes every time. Like, hey, I'm hungry, and the scale's down like 5 pounds. We're like, great, dude, that's awesome. Here's more food.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Why are you
It's-
giving me more,
No,
me
there-
more
there was
food?
a-
I'm losing weight.
One short story that I gotta share is I remember this, and for the rest of my life, I remember this. I was losing weight until I wasn't.
Yep.
And I texted Coach Yo. I said, "Hey, I'm not losing weight anymore." He goes, "Okay, let's eat more food." And I literally just sat there. I remember where I was, everything. And I looked at my phone. I said, and I looked at my friend. I said, "He just said to eat more food to lose weight."
Yeah.
And he goes, "I don't know." And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
okay.
trust the process. I
What happened when you ate
ate
more
more food, and in 2 days I lost weight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is like a wizard.
Was that high carb day? Was that after high carb day?
It was after high carb day.
Yeah.
That was when we were on our cut, but my body was like not responding to the cut anymore. And so you're like, oh, you need more food.
Yeah.
Who would ever think that? Jake, would you ever think that? No one ever thinks
No,
that.
no.
It's like you don't eat more food to lose weight,
Yeah.
but you do.
Yeah,
Right?
Most people
And
in that
that's a health
scenario
coach.
is they're going to take food away. Like, okay, you're not losing weight. That's fine. Let's
Go down.
let's go down.
Yeah.
That's
then
gonna
you
work
might
for
lose a
6
little
weeks
bit,
and
but
then
you're
it's
gonna
not.
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't sustain that. So we know there's hormones, there's biological processes in play that are preventing you from losing that weight. They're like, okay, we need to give you more food. We need to combat this stuff. And so we know what we need to do. We do it. We explain it to you. You accept it very hesitantly. You're like, hey, if you're telling me I need to eat more food to lose more weight, I'll do it. But I swear if I wake up and my weight is going up after this, I'm done. Like, oh, that's fine. We give you more food. You wake up the next day and you're like, dude, how did I just lose 5 pounds overnight?
Yeah.
There you go.
Magic. Did you two start with this amount of knowledge, or how long did it take you?
Hell no.
Oh my lord.
I'll be the I'm gonna look at the camera. I'll be the first one it's gonna tell you that all I knew was eat less.
Yep.
That's all I knew. Eat less and do more. So we all had that mindset because why? That's what we were taught in school. That's what society
If
was.
we were lucky to learn that in school.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really teach proper health
Yeah.
and nutrition in school.
That's
right?
what we learned
We
from.
learned the food pyramid in school, the BMI. Holy
Horrible.
hell. Stop
So-
using the BMI.
So no, we did not have any knowledge at all.
No.
And
When you started the business.
I mean, we had our certifications that we
some.
got.
Yeah,
we,
but
we,
not
we
what
had
you
our-
have now. I'm
We
talking
had our
about-
trainer certification and our basic level 1 nutritionist certification.
Yeah.
That was it. So we knew bare minimum.
Yeah.
Everything
I'm
that we've
talking
learned has
about
been
when-
hands-on application.
I'm talking about when I first hired my first coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'm like,
When I hired him, I didn't know anything. I didn't know up from down at
Yeah.
that point.
And so he was actually my guinea pig, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And so what I learned from him, I taught him. And then I started accumulating more and more knowledge from other coaches and other people
Yep.
and higher mentors. And then I'm like, whoa, there's more.
Yeah.
And then there's more, there's so every year it's more and more and more and more, and more.
Yeah.
And it's continuation of like you said before, like continuation of education, because it's not just because you know how to be on a deficit, that doesn't solve everything.
Well, like when we decided to make blood work mandatory, we didn't know how to read blood panels.
No.
So we talked about it, and I was this was 3 years ago. I was prepping for my last bodybuilding shows, and so we were talking about it, him and I, and he's like, "Okay, so we need to figure out how to read blood panels." He's like, "How do we do that?" And I'm like, "Well, you got me doing an hour of cardio before breakfast and an hour after I work out." So I literally what I did is I Googled what are blood panels. So I figured out what a CBC is, a CMP, what they look at on thyroid for.
All the definitions.
Yeah, what they look for, just pretty much hormonally, what they look for with cholesterol and lipid panels and all that. I went line by line in every panel. I Googled it. I watched YouTube videos. I read research papers. I wrote notes down. So I had like a 30-page document of how to read blood panels that I shared with him and our other coaches at the time. So when we would get blood work in, we'd have you send it to me ahead of time. I would look at it, figure out what I thought I saw, and then I'd go to my notes. And whatever I got wrong, I'd go back and study.
And then we would share that information back and forth.
Yeah.
So I'll read my blood work and I'll send it to him and he'll give it back, right?
Yeah.
And so the point of this story is you don't need to have a lot of knowledge to start a business.
No.
You really don't. You know what I mean?
But I think you need to have a lot of knowledge to continue to grow
Correct.
the business.
if you have the right people, the right environment, the right mentors, you can continue to grow your business, and that's how you grow your business because you have knowledge and experiences, right? But when you first start your business, do you know anything about shipping stuff?
Simple. And I was going to
Logistics.
This is the reason that I asked this question. I knew the answer to it.
Yeah.
And I teed them up for this, right?
Yes.
When you start a business, anyone that's listening to this, when you start a business, you do not need to know everything. And that's the number one theme people struggle with. They have this analysis paralysis. They struggle to find all of this knowledge. And let me share something with you. After my 5th business, I finally figured this out. When you just start, you will learn more in 1 week than you learned in a year of studying crap
materials.
online.
I mean,
of
we
studying
learned
books.
a lot with our certifications, but nowhere in our nutrition certifications and our courses did they teach us how to read blood work. They teach us, how we need to give you more food to get you to lose more weight when we're cutting. What a cut is like. They just went over what nutrition is, what macros are, what micronutrients are, vitamins, minerals.
The
That's
basics.
it, the basics to get started. But you can have the basics and have a decent business, but if you want to grow, you need more knowledge. But if you aren't learning, in my opinion, you're dying.
Yeah.
You need to continue to learn. And I talked about this last year on my social media, and I got a lot of more responses than I was anticipating getting. And it was 50-50 positive and negative, where I called out a lot of people we know, not by name, but just that we know who are coaches or try to do what we do. And I said, if you aren't continuing your education and learning more to be able to help people, you're doing a disservice to your clients and to the industry.
Yeah.
It's our moral
Time for you to
obligation.
move on.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's our moral obligation to continue to learn as much as we can so we can truly help people. If they're coming to us, we've had people say, "You're my last resort." The doctors,
a lot of pressure.
they tell me that I need to do this, I need to do that. I don't want to take the medications. I need you guys to help me. So now there's pressure on us. But if I don't have the knowledge to help you and I take your money, not only am I a bad person, but I could potentially be causing you harm.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to continue your education and to learn, if you're in the business, if it's customer service or if it's sales, if it's if it's software, whatever it is, then
we can
you're
help
doing a
you.
disservice.
We can help you fix your health, but we can also help you damage your health.
Yep.
Yeah. You
So
have a
you
big
gotta-
responsibility being
You
a
got
health
to
coach.
you got to
You
gotta know your stuff.
You
Yeah.
got to pick the right coach.
Yeah.
And
I think
that's what I'm saying.
people don't understand that when they want to get into this industry. They a lot of times they see it as just a side hustle. Like I can make some money. And if I learn how to tell people what to eat, I can make even more money. But you don't understand if someone's coming to us with non-alcoholic fatty liver syndrome, I've got to be particular on your meal plan.
Yeah.
You don't get macros, you get a meal plan. You're going to eat what I tell you to do. I'm going to give you the supplements that I'm allowed to recommend, and I've got to do different things to get you to out of that range, because that is a very scary illness.
Or when someone has thyroid issues
Yeah.
or PCOS.
Yeah.
We got
Like, how do you deal with that?
the amount of pre-diabetics that we get that are
We have a lot of
coming in.
Because then you can't just shove carbs down them and tell them to work out.
No.
That ain't gonna
No,
work.
we got to be particular.
We
We get
have
people
to
who come
know.
in with iron issues with, they have thicker blood, so we've got to help them out with that. So if someone's coming to us with a health condition that we're fully aware of, and then we're not addressing it the way that it needs to be addressed, we could be then held responsible.
Yeah.
So
People
yeah.
can literally die.
Yeah.
Essentially. Like if I put you on a deficit forever and you barely eat
You will
500,
literally
you
wither
will
away.
literally die.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a lot.
I mean, we know coaches who are like, "Oh, Matt, you're hungry and you're losing weight. Here, you know what? This is what I'm going to do for you. We're going to get you to look so good. You only get 800 calories a day."
Yeah.
We have seen that more times than I want to admit. Seeing
Yeah.
that. And I mean,
And
No.
and to be honest,
that's dangerous.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was taught.
Yep.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
so you only know what you know, but it's your responsibility to
Yeah.
learn more.
So back to your question, you don't need to have a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure Jake, right? I'm sure Jake doesn't know a lot about these things. You know what I mean? Like it's like,
Yep.
but you pick along as you go and you
Yep.
learn as you go. There's
Yeah.
always new product. There's always new cameras. There's
Yep.
always new lens. There's always new things. There's always new weight loss shots.
Yeah.
Always new. There's always something new out there. I don't even want to go to that point.
We're not getting into those.
I'm not. We can stay here for hours.
My favorite weight loss product I've ever seen, and I talk about all the time, is I had a cousin, his wife was advertising gummy bears that specifically target belly fat.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, so what, is
I
it
wanna
just
see
sugar,
this.
is it sugar-free gummy bears? Because you eat that and you're gonna be in the bathroom for an hour. That's what that stuff does to you. But I commented, I'm like,
dehydration will cause weight loss.
yeah. But I'm like,
True.
yeah. There you go, Matt Sale, health coach.
Hey, I can help you lose 10 pounds by diarrhea.
I commented on her post and I was like, tell me the science behind how these gummy bears target belly fat. Like, how can it specifically do that? And she's like, oh, well, it's this whole thing, this whole spiel, but I can get you in contact with the guy that owns the company. I'm like, that is a scheme if I've ever heard of one.
Oh, my
Well,
If it sounds too good to be true,
yeah,
it is.
That's just a funneling scheme.
it is.
My gummy bears?
Back to that question
That's
though,
the
it's really dangerous when you really listen to it, right? Do
Yep.
you have all the knowledge to start a business? Well, if you asked me that same question back when I was working 9 to 5, I'd be like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, but I'm like, heck no. Wow, I'm
Third time's a
terrible.
charm. Good job.
I'm just
for
over
you,
here
bro.
like,
Yeah.
I'm just over here like I don't know anything. But that's the problem. I think that's the problem. People, and then when you don't know anything and then you refuse to learn and ask the questions,
Yep. Or I think people take it from what they call a perfectionist standpoint. To me, if you're a perfectionist, that's just a mask for an insecurity of you're afraid to fail.
Yeah.
That's all perfectionism
Yep.
is, in my opinion. But they're like, I have to learn everything. I'm going to know everything about this industry before I start a job. Well, how? That's impossible. We can't ever know everything there is to know about health,
Especially
about
from the
nutrition, about everything. You can't learn everything there is to learn about logistics.
No.
And sales, you can't, because there's always something new. So if you're trying to be perfect and the best at it, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
Because they don't want competition. They want to be the best of the best, and there's no competition.
Or-
but if you don't have competition, how are you gonna succeed? Because there's no motivation at that point.
or you'll never start.
Right.
Yeah, because you're always trying to learn something.
Right. And the best way to combat that is to be curious.
Yeah,
Forever be curious and know that you don't know what you don't know.
exactly.
And so talk to other people,
Yep.
hear them out. They may be doing things differently than you. That's okay.
Mhm.
Take what you like, take what you don't, sub in what you do like, take out what you don't like. Just be curious.
But it's okay to also admit to say I don't know.
100%.
Oh,
Because there's so
Vulnerability.
many people that are so afraid. They want to sound like they're
It's the smartest
the
in the
smartest
room.
person. Yeah, so they have an answer for everything. We've had clients who, before we do the blood work, people come in, they're like, well, what do I need to do to correct my cholesterol? I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know.
I'll get back to you.
Let me find out. I'm going to
Yeah.
go do research. Let me find out. But in the meantime, let's get you back to your doctor.
That's a two.
So they have a resolution right then and there. But then we saw it as, okay, we need to start learning these things. And then we go out and learn it. But don't be afraid to say, I don't know. People are going to trust you more if you say, I don't know. I'm going to go learn it, versus you give them some bullshit answer.
Yeah.
Because then they're going to figure it out. Okay, this guy's a fraud. He doesn't know
Yeah,
what he's talking
100%.
Mhm.
Yeah. Coach Yotoknit, this has been one of the best podcasts we've done. Where can people find you if they want to look you up, if they want to get in touch with Unfinished Lifestyle, if they want you to transform their lives?
First things first, we have our Google reviews. So we have over 150 or something like that. Google reviews, 5-star Google reviews, which is amazing, awesome, and they're all very authentic. They're all very genuine, right? It's not like a one-liner. Oh, yo and Nick are great coaches. It's not like that. So it's very genuine. So you can find us on Google.
Just Google Unfinished Lifestyle.
Unfinishedlifestyle.com, and then you can find us on social media with our Facebook, unfinishedlifestyle.com. And also Instagram, Unfinished Lifestyle as well. And our personal, which for me is Yo-Yo Gains with a Z in the end. And then
mine's my name and my last name's ridiculous. So I'll just have you put it somewhere.
We'll put the link in the bio. Yeah, we'll put the link in the bio.
A lot
in the
easier
description and everything.
But we also have our own podcast. So on Spotify,
and YouTube.
Unfinished Lifestyle, and YouTube, Unfinished Lifestyle as well. So all of that, and you get to see all of our work. You get to see all of our clients. You get to see all the things that we do.
Yep. But the best way, if people are listening and they want to reach out to us, we offer consultations for free. We can do it through Zoom, or if they're local to Utah and in the Valley, they can come to the gym. But the best way to contact us is go to unfinishedlifestyle.com and click on contact us and fill out the inquiry form. So it asks for your email address and your phone number, and then we'll get back. The second it gets submitted, we get back to you right then and there to get it scheduled.
Yep. Awesome. So last question. If you had to give one piece of advice for someone that wants to become a health coach,
I like how he has that question.
In today's world, what would you say to them?
You can start on that one.
You need to be willing to learn more than what's required.
That's deep.
Mine's going to be really simple. You need to do it first.
Yeah.
You need to go
through your own health journey first.
You need to go through your health journey first. Hire a coach, right? I don't care if you're certified. I've known a lot of people that are certified in so many different areas, right? And that tried really hard to get their coaching business going.
They're not good.
But
they're not good coaches.
They're not good coaches because they've never hired a coach. Why is that? Go hire someone.
Yep.
And then you learn you learn their product, you learn their knowledge, you learn what to do, what not to do, and you see their program, what kind of program that they're using, what kind of apps they're using, right? So if you want to be a health coach or personal trainer, personally, health coach is the way to go.
Yeah.
100%.
100%, because you make your own schedule, all that fun stuff, right? So if you want to be a health coach, hire someone that can help you look apart. And you don't have to be shredded. You don't have to be like a Mr. Olympia, Jay Cutler looking person. You don't have to be none of that. You don't even have to look like us, to be honest. But you got to look apart. You cannot sell your program or work with someone if your client looks better than you. Let's be honest, right? Unless you're like a 20-time Mr. Olympia coaches, you've been in the game for decades, and you're like 55 years old, and you're done lifting. That's a different story. But I'm talking about if you're new, between 20 to 30 or whatever years, whatever age you're in, and you want to become a coach, hire someone first, understand their value, understand the product first, and then you can start taking away bits and pieces and create your own. Not just one coach. And then 2-3 years later, hire another coach. Work with them to see what they have to offer you. Because I've had three coaches now. He had two. And so we know how they work. So if you want to be a health coach, hire a mentor or hire a coach to get you there.
I got to share a secret with both of you since he said that. One of my goals is I will look better than both of you. Give me about 3 years.
You put it out there, so now we expect it.
I'm going to be massive.
Is it going to be good?
It's going to be good, right? So anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in. This is My Elevated Mindset Business Edition. I'm Matthew Fassett, your host. If you need help starting your first business, if you need help generating your first idea, go on to myelevatedmindset.com where you can download your free 7-step checklist to generate your first big business idea. If you already have a business and you're looking to scale that business to new heights, or you just need help making it profitable, hit the coaching tab on myelevatedmindset.com, fill out the sheet, the Google sheet, and I will be more than happy to hop on a call with you, to hop on a Zoom call with you, and let's chat about your business. Thank you. See you soon.